Welcome to your first lesson in geometry. Today we're going to learn about lines, rays, angles, segments, and more. And so right here I've drawn for you a segment, which is part of a line, okay? Part of a line. A segment simply has a starting point and an ending point. Notice that we have many parts of segments here. We have segment PQ, we have segment RS, we have segment QR as well. See if you can identify any other segments. All that it is connecting two endpoints, okay? A starting point and an ending point. So, suppose that we have segment PQ with a length of 3, okay? So PQ, it has a length of 3, QR has a length of 7, and PS has a length of 13. PS, notice, is the entire segment here, has a length of 13. Well, what is the measure of RS? Well, this is simple because I know that PQ plus QR plus RS equals PS, the whole entire segment, right? I just can add those parts. And now all I have to do is substitute. So 3 plus 7 plus RS equals, I know that that last one is 13, okay? Well, here I have 10 plus RS is equal to 13. That means that RS has to equal. Notice that in the question I asked you, what is the measure of RS, okay? Segment RS. Notice here in the notation that if I'm talking about a segment, I put a line over it, okay? I put the line over it. When I'm talking about the measure of a segment, I do not put a line over it, okay, in this example. So if I'm referring to the segment and not to the measure, I put a line. And if I'm talking about the measure of the segment, I do not put a line and I put an equal sign. So let's recap some vocabulary terminology here. So we talked about a segment, which is just a line that has a starting point and an ending point. And then collinear, you're going to see this word often, okay? Collinear simply means 3 or more points that lie on the same line. Notice here that I have 4 points and all of them lie on the same line. Therefore, these points are collinear. All right, now we get to talk about rays and angles. In this case, a ray is much like a segment, but not quite the same. So in this example, we have a starting point, but then we have the collection of all points that go on forever in one direction, okay? That is what a ray is, and that's what it looks like. And now I'm going to draw another ray from the same point, same starting point, and it goes on forever in another direction. Now, I've formed what is called an angle. This angle has a vertex, and it is right here, okay? This is the vertex at B. We'll call that the vertex of the angle, okay? Now, a vertex is just where the two rays of an angle meet. We call the measure of this angle, whatever that measure is, maybe 30 degrees, 40 degrees, any case, we call the measure of that angle theta, okay? Theta. Theta, we spell it this way. That simply means the measure of an angle. So we have a ray and a ray, okay? There, now you have all the vocab you need. Now, to focus on notation here, we want to call this, we're going to use this symbol here for the measure of an angle. This is the measure of an angle, and we'll call this angle. Let's put a letter here for A, And let's put a letter here for B. This angle is going to be called, this needs to be a different letter, C. This angle is going to be called ABC. Angle ABC. Now, if I'm referring to the angle, I will just say angle ABC. And I name an angle with the vertex always in the middle. If I want to talk about the measure of this angle, I would say the measure of angle ABC equals theta in this case, because we don't have a number, but I could always change that number and say 30 degrees, for example, okay? So notice that the name of this angle is ABC, or it could also be, right? Or it could be angle CBA, as long as the vertex is always in the middle. Finally, let's look at an example here. So here I have 3 angles, okay? And I'm going to name them first, okay? So first I have angle EAF, and that angle is X plus 18, okay? Now I also have angle GAF, and that angle is X minus 6. Lastly, I have angle EAG, which measures 72 degrees. Well, the question is, what is the value of X? Oh, this is simple. I know that if I have the whole angle, it's 72, and I have the 2 smaller angles, those 2 smaller angles will add up to the bigger angle, okay? So now I'm going to do X plus 18, right? Plus X minus 6, and that has to give me 72. Now, I'm just going to combine like terms, do some algebra, and then this will be a piece of cake, okay? So let's do this. We end up with combining like terms, 2x plus 12 equals 72. We do minus 12 on both sides, and we end up with 2x equals 60. Divide by 2, divide by 2, cross that out, x equals 30. Now, here's gonna be your check for understanding. What is the value, okay? What is the measure of angle EAF and the measure of angle GAF? Now, I've given you an expression for them, but I want a numerical value, okay? So what are the values of those 2 angles? And then check, do they actually add up to 72 degrees? That is all for today.